What if I told you that your imagination is not just a place to escape reality, but the very tool that shapes it? This isn't science fiction or wishful thinking. This is the core teaching of Neville Goddard, one of the most powerful yet underrated spiritual minds of the 20th century. Born in Barbados in 1905, Neville's life took a dramatic turn when he discovered the concept that would define his legacy. Imagination creates reality. Before he became a spiritual teacher, Neville worked as a ballet dancer in New York. Struggling with purpose and direction, he stumbled upon a lecture by a mysterious teacher named Abdullah, a man who would soon change the course of his life. Abdullah didn't just teach Neville about scripture or spirituality. He opened his eyes to the true power of thought, belief, and inner vision. He told Neville, "You are already in Barbados," when Neville wanted to return home with no money in his pocket. Days later, Neville received an unexpected ticket. That moment wasn't luck. It was a demonstration of what happens when belief becomes knowing and imagination becomes reality. Neville began to apply this principle to every part of his life. What he discovered was so profound, it would go on to influence generations of spiritual seekers, manifestors, and thought leaders. Neville Goddard didn't just talk about imagination, he lived it. After his experience with Abdullah, he made it his mission to test the principles of manifestation again and again. His method was simple, yet revolutionary. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That means, if you desire something, don't. Just think about it. Feel it as if it's already yours. If you want wealth, feel wealthy. If you desire love, feel loved. If you're seeking healing, feel healed. Neville taught that your inner world is the only creative force. He believed there is no external God handing out blessings. Instead, the God that creates your reality is your imagination itself. This is what he meant when he said, "God and man are one. Man's imagination is God." This teaching challenged traditional religion, shocked skeptics, and inspired a quiet revolution of people who began to test it for themselves. Over time, stories poured in, people manifesting homes, careers, relationships, even healing illnesses, just by using the power of conscious imagination. Neville wrote over 10 books, with titles like Feeling is the Secret and The Power of Awareness, each one a manual for turning inner belief into outer fact. Unlike many spiritual teachers, Neville never sugarcoated the responsibility. He said, "You are the operant power." In other words, you create everything. No excuses, no exceptions. This is both terrifying and liberating. But once you truly understand it, your life will never be the same. What made Neville truly different wasn't just his radical ideas. It was how practical they were. He didn't speak in vague spiritual terms. He gave exact instructions. One of his most famous techniques was called the scene. Here's how it works. Choose a moment that would happen after your desire has already manifested. For example, if you want to land your dream job, imagine a friend congratulating you, or you signing your offer letter. Then, right before sleep, when your mind is drifting into a relaxed, suggestible state, replay this scene over and over until it feels natural, real, and emotionally charged. Neville said this sleepy state, called the state akin to sleep, is the gateway to the subconscious mind, where all manifestation begins. Once the scene is impressed onto your subconscious, reality begins to shift. Results don't always come instantly, but they come, so long as you stay loyal to the assumption. That's another of Neville's key teachings. Persist in the assumption. Most people fail not because the law doesn't work, but because they abandon their assumption too quickly. Neville would say, "It's not what you want that you attract, but what you believe to be true." That subtle shift changes everything. It puts you back in control, not by effort, not by hard work, but by alignment with the feeling of your fulfilled desire. This is the law of assumption in action, and it's far more powerful than most people ever realize. As Neville's teachings spread, so did the stories of transformation. From housewives to businessmen, artists to entrepreneurs, people began applying his principles with astonishing success. Neville didn't ask his audience to believe blindly. He challenged them to test it for themselves. "Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption," he said. He often emphasized that your current life is nothing more than the reflection of your past assumptions. If you're unhappy with what you see, don't fight the world. Change your inner world. Shift your self-concept. Stop identifying with lack, limitation, or failure. Begin to identify with the version of you who already has what you desire. This, according to Neville, is the master key to reality creation. He taught that everything in life follows your self-image. You cannot outperform your belief about who you are. That's why Neville insisted on inner reprogramming through daily mental rehearsals, affirmations, and focused imagination. And here's what makes his work so timeless. It's universal. It doesn't matter what religion you follow, where you live, or what your background is. Imagination is the universal language of creation. It's available to everyone. Neville's work became a hidden gem in the self-help world. While others shouted about hustle and grind, Neville quietly invited people to close their eyes and step into a new version of themselves. And the results? Miraculous. Not because he had some secret magic, but because he revealed you are the magic. So why does Neville Goddard matter more today than ever before? In a world overwhelmed by distractions, stress, and external noise, his message is a return to inner power. He reminds us that the most important work we can do is inward, that we don't need to chase, compete, or beg for change. We simply need to become the version of ourselves who already has what we desire. This isn't just motivational talk. It's a framework for creating real, lasting transformation. Neville's teachings are now being rediscovered by a new generation of thinkers, spiritual seekers, and creators. People like you, who know deep down that reality is more than just cause and effect. That life is not happening to you, but through you. If you've ever felt like there's something more, something just beneath the surface of your everyday life, Neville's work is your sign. It's time to stop wishing and start embodying. So tonight, before you sleep, choose your desire. Feel it as real. Rehearse it in your mind as if it's already done, and let your imagination do the rest. That's how miracles happen. Not outside, but within. And if you're ready to dive deeper into the law of assumption and the power of imagination, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. There's so much more to explore, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Remember, your imagination is the spark, your belief is the fuel, and your assumption is reality.